Well, good evening, St. James. This is Pastor Bianca, and to all of those who are joining on tonight just to hear this live session and our community highlight. We're going to be highlighting a wonderful organization that I learned about recently, about their work that they've been doing in the community. And also, we're going to talk to the founder of this organization. So I'm excited about what we're about to discuss on tonight. So as you're joining, let us know that you are in the room, maybe even where you are viewing from. That would help us so that we can acknowledge if there's anyone who may not be in North Carolina that decided to view on tonight. I definitely want to acknowledge you as you are coming in. Bless you. I see St. James is coming in, and there are those who have already joined on YouTube as well as on Facebook. So I'm excited to be able to share on tonight this particular live session. We are talking about community. We're talking about community. On this past live session, we talked with Miranda Burton, who is the founder of Marion's House. And we had an awesome discussion about child sexual abuse and what their particular organization does as it relates to giving an ear, listening, talking about it, but really empowerment, awareness, and recovery. So I'm excited for that particular session. If you missed it, you can check out the replay on our Facebook page or YouTube page. If you want to connect with this particular organization, you can do that on Facebook. You can also email them. That information is in the comments of the replay. And then also, if you would like to donate, they do participate in Giving Tuesday, which is the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. So you can also donate on Giving Tuesday as well. Well, listen, we won't prolong. I see Peggy Tatum is in the room. Well, God bless you. So good to see you, my dear friend. She's so wonderful, so supportive. Just so encouraging. She just has an anointing to connect people. Actually, this is how I met the founder of Ripple Effects. And so I'm certainly excited about that as well. So thank you so much, Sister Tatum, for being in, and to all of our St. James members who are in as well. We're going to now introduce and also bring in Sister Keisha Spivey. Okay. This is an awesome woman of God. I believe she's a pastor, but we're going to get into it. Okay. We're going to get into that because she certainly does the ministry of an evangelist. And sometimes that's not what we think. That's not that mic grabbing the mic and preaching hard in a particular building. Sometimes the work of an evangelist and that helps ministry is really hitting the streets. And she does the hard work. She does the dirty work, if you will, that other people may not volunteer for, but this is real ministry. And so I'm excited to have her in this space on tonight. So let's bring her in. How are you? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. So I want to make sure you're considered a pastor, right? Like you're ordained. Okay. I want to make sure I say that right because I felt that, but I want to make sure I say that because I want to make sure that we address you properly as well. So thank you for agreeing to be on this live session. I'm so appreciative for that. When I learned about your organization, I certainly wanted to highlight it as well. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Yep. So let's just get going here as it relates to just introducing yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, a little bit maybe about where you're from, and even a little bit about the organization before we get into your journey. Okay. So let's talk about that.
Awesome. Well, I am Pastor Keisha Spivey. I'm an ordained pastor. I live in the Rocky Mount area. This is actually where I grew up. I moved away and the Lord brought us back. I am married. My husband and I have celebrated 25 years of marriage this year. We have 3 children. I am a graduate of North Carolina A&T, Aggie Pride, and
Every
I've got
Friday. All right.
and my seminary training, my Master's of Christian Leadership and my Master of Divinity both came from Liberty University, and that's why I'm pursuing my doctorate.
Okay.
Ripple Effect is an organization that's based right here in Rocky Mount that officially became a organization about 4 years ago in 2016. It was something I was doing a little bit before then, but just due to several sets of situations, I knew that we needed to do something and become structured in that. I was actually working on staff as a pastor, and what I was finding was more and more ministry needed to take place outside of the building than in the building.
Wow.
And we were, just full disclosure, I felt like the church had become a place that was more of a country club. It was really taking care of the people that were there. You know, it was making sure people were comfortable, making sure their needs were met. And being in the community, being in the schools, I kept coming against needs that were not considered church needs. And these were people that were not welcome in the average church. You know, they didn't look the part, they didn't have the part, they weren't going to come bring in tithes and offering, they were going to come bring in baggage and mess. And the problem was, every time you brought them, the church wasn't necessarily as equipped as it needed to be to embrace them. And so I started doing more and more stuff in the streets. I started doing more and more in the community. I started doing more and more going to where people were, going to the needy, going to the messy, and just doing what we call street church. Wasn't fancy, didn't have a name. It was just street church. We're taking the church to the streets and meeting people where they were in the midst of their needs.
Wow. And so I want to dig into that a little bit because you bring up, as a pastor, right? As a pastor who has a building, who has a ministry, you bring up something that I think, even for myself, and if we look introspectively and we look inter-organizationally as well, the question is, what, based on this discussion, what do you think we are missing when it comes to those tools? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. This is
You
right.
asking me to just talk straight, because
Yes,
normally people want to give canned answers and people want the pretty answers, but it's not a pretty situation. You know,
yes,
I ran into a lot of children in the community that I was working with that were not church. They were kids in the community. And I would try to take them to church and to the youth ministry or to the children's ministry. And I was told they weren't trained to work with those type of people. And I'm like, what type of people? You know, people that don't know how to, you know, adapt to others. And so what I felt like was these children, these teens, they were coming to a place that was supposed to be welcoming to all, because that's what the billboard says. That's what we say we are. But we don't have people that can deal with children that don't necessarily know how to conform or fit into a certain situation, that may be a little bit rambunctious, or maybe have maybe doesn't quite know how to deal with authority. And instead of just trying to spoon feed them or force feed them into a situation, they need TLC, they need love, they need to be met where they are. And so what happened is, I felt like so often they would come, but there was more harm being done than help being done. I also realized that the average church isn't prepared. And this is not just any particular church. I have visited multiple churches. I do have an itinerant ministry, so I get the joy of preaching and ministering prior to COVID in a lot of different places.
right.
But I realize, you know, churches are designed to take care of, well, a lot of them are designed to take care of the people that are in there. This is my seat. I like this temperature. I like this music. This is what we do. This is how we handle it. So if I'm coming in, you know, who's looking to make sure I feel comfortable, that I feel welcomed? You know, who's the point person that if I come in and I smell like alcohol, or if I come in and I'm dressed a little bit like I shouldn't be, who's going to love on me and bring me in and welcome me instead of ostracizing me or making me feel like I don't fit? And so I kept going to places after place. And what I realized is, these weren't bad churches. These weren't bad people. But I realized that we have a lot of churches have lost sight of what true discipleship looks like and what true ministry is, because it's messy. It's dealing with the messy stuff. It's dealing with the hard cases. It's dealing with the jokers who don't know right from wrong, and loving the hell out of them, loving the darkness out of them, lighting that. And a lot of places aren't equipped for that.
Yeah.
And
You bring up a good point. Just going back to something that you said, as it relates to coming in, only taking care of those within the church that they know need help, or they know only making a program to fit the group, right? And so I totally understand it. I've seen it myself, and you know what? Even as a pastor, who is in a ministry that has been, established for 94 years, right? We have people that have been there. We've done a certain thing a certain way. And even as the kind of like the new kid on the block in a way, I bring a lot of different things that I like to do from a ministry perspective, and folks are watching here at my church, so they're hearing this too, right? But I do bring a lot of ideas. I brought a lot of different things, and there's some things I haven't revealed yet because we have to get to a place to be able to receive that as well. And so, which is another reason why I like to highlight people who are really in. When I first started preaching, I would preach on the street. I was 15 years old. Okay. And so I understand, when I did evangelism, we took off the church clothes and put on jeans and tennis shoes and t-shirts. We went in the projects and we had service in the courtyard, and we just talked. And so I understand. And so this is one of the reasons why I want to highlight this type of ministry, is because it connects to my heart so much about how the needs are in the community. And so let's continue to talk about your journey and what you saw, because this is something I think that we all need to hear, all of us.
What happened for me is I kept seeing the needs, and I realized that we had gotten away from the Acts 2 church. We had gotten away from the model. And so what I realized, everyone's trying to get people to come to their church and to come to their building, but Jesus went to where people were. He went to where they were. He went and did life with them. And that's how the church began. So that's what we started doing. And so we were just kind of doing some one-on-one stuff. Then it went into us doing like street church services. We would do Saturday services. We initially started out with breakfast. Then we realized doing it later in the day was better. So then we would do a cookout. And this is for some churchy people, this is not going to make you feel good, but we play Motown music.
Right.
We do a fish fry. We do spaghetti dinners. We get the community out there, and we get them out there, and we just get them having fun. Because what I realized, a lot of them had been to church and knew rules and they knew religion, but they did not know a relationship with Jesus.
Wow.
They only knew the knots and the can'ts and the don'ts. They didn't understand what it meant to be in fellowship with the Father. They didn't understand that the freedom that comes with that. And so they knew don't, and you're not this. And so we changed the whole narrative. And we just had fun. We had hula hoops and balls for the kids, and just things that were very attractive just to get them out the house. And then we get them there, play, we talk, then we worship. We have someone share a testimony that we've been working with from the community, people that they knew. And then we share the word. And people started getting saved, Pastor, and they got saved. And after I was trying to send them to other churches, and they were not feeling comfortable. And I went to a pastor, and I'm like, I don't know what to do, because this God hasn't told me to start a church. And he started laughing. He said, I don't know what you think you've got, but this is a church.
Yeah.
He said, disciple them. I'm like, what? He said, disciple them. Yeah. And so we started a discipleship process, and next thing we knew, we were at Walmart buying a blow-up pool, and we started baptizing people in the empty lot in the neighborhood, and it just became ministry. Yeah. And so that kind of spilled over into our nonprofit, because we were working with homeless families. And my concern was, we were trying to change the narrative for the child, But if you're not coming alongside mom and coming alongside dad and the whole family coming up, then we're setting this child up to repeat the cycle. So we were working with the entire family. And so we were housing families. And so God had blessed us with some properties. And so we were able to house multiple families. And then people start coming to us that I got a house, but I need help. And so we started doing other services. And so in 2019, we were blessed with the community center. So we now have a resource center now. And prior to COVID, that was a place people could shower, they could come in and they could cook meals. It was a coffee area, meeting space, computers for them to do work, and everything was made like home. So people could have a safe place to come to out of the community, to find peace, to attend classes, to get, things that they needed. And it just became a support system to them. And so we were working with the homeless families. We were working with the people that just needed help. And we just began to, as needs showed up, we do what we need to do to meet the need. And we did it by faith. We got our first grant this year to assist with some of the housing components. But since the beginning, we've just stepped out by faith because God told us he didn't ask us to pay for it. He asked us to faith for it. And so, just this year, COVID has shifted some of our programs. And so we've really, really focused on serving senior citizens and disabled persons because they were the group that was the most at risk with this COVID stuff. So we started serving 150 plus senior citizens a week in the height of the COVID when everything was shut down and we were having it delivered to homes. And so now we're still averaging probably about 50 seniors a week, disabled people who live with food. So we're just, as the needs present themselves, we believe the gospel is meet them where they are and introduce them to Jesus through your hands. Introduce them to Jesus through your feet. And when they ask you why you're here and why are you doing this, then you talk about our why. And we've never had a situation where that's come up and they weren't open to hearing the heart behind our why. And so that's how we do ministry.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. And so as it relates to, your experience and your journey, it really came and it has been something that you just walked into. Like you didn't have.
This was not a planned event. This was not a planned event. To sit and say to have a 5-year, 10-year plan, and which I am a planner and I'm an organizer. This came about because I kept seeing the needs, and when I tried to find people to help, I couldn't find the places. I didn't know where to send them, and the Lord says, "I've allowed you to see it. Do something about it."
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So can you just tell us a little bit? I know you mentioned some of the transitional, I guess it's transitional housing, would it be called?
It is, and we call it, it's called the Bridge Transitional Living Program. I kind of stay away from the housing piece because a lot of times housing means I'm just offering you some place to stay. This is shelter. What we do, we have a Bridge Transitional Living Program, which means you are able to come into our program and housing is a component. But you also get coaching. You also get financial literacy training. You also get mental health therapies. If you're part of our program, you have to see a counselor. You also have house checks. You also have rules and accountability. And what happens is you come into our program as a guest. You get to be a guest in our homes. Our homes are fully furnished. When people come in, all they need to bring are their clothes.
Wow.
And that's because we want down to towels and washcloths and pots and pans and glass. Everything is provided because we want to eliminate the excuse of I didn't get a chance.
Yeah.
I didn't have what I needed. So we have people that work with the school system and mentor. We also partner with other churches and other organizations for things that students and kids and parents need. So what we do is partner with everybody else who's doing what they do well and tap into those resources so that people can get it. So when you come into our program, it's called the Bridge. And we call it that because we believe it helps you get from the potential that's within you to executing and walking out the purpose that God has called you to. Because potential untapped is useless until you align that potential with purpose and activate it. you're not really living, you're just existing. And so we believe that our organization and the people that we partner with help people cross from where they are to where they could be and who they can be. And so you come in, and every person who comes into our program, it's a different situation, different set of circumstances. And I tell people often, our program isn't for everybody. This isn't really pretty to say, but our program it's not for people who are just comfortable in their pain and agony and don't want, to do any different. I'm just entitled and somebody needs to take care of me. Then you don't want what we got, because we don't want none of that. And so we look for the work, and it ain't going to work because you are held accountable. In our program, you're either in school, you are working, you are volunteering, you are moving forward. This is not a coasting place. You don't get to come in and I'm going to chill for a moment and just, enjoy life. No. If I got to get up and go to work, if we have to do what we got to do, then you are going to be moving forward. We're going to be executing some goals. We're going to be checking off some things. If you don't have a GED, we're going to start there. If you don't have a job, you're going to start there. And if you can't find a job, then where are you going to volunteer until you get a job? Because not doing anything is not an option. So people quickly discover that our program is about moving my life forward.
Yes.
We're not going to do it for you, but we'll come alongside you.
Yes.
And we'll walk with you. But the moment you sit down, that we're no longer walking together. Right. And so we need to have people in the program that are wanting to walk and to move forward and to change the trajectory of their lives.
That's awesome. That is really, really awesome. Now, as it relates to your service area, those that you actually help and service, is it solely in the Rocky Mount area, or do you go a little bit outside, just to kind of understand your service area, or you'll accept anybody from North Carolina?
And we have them come in from all over. We are designed, and we have most contacts in Nash and Edgecombe County. Okay. We also know several and are working with Wilson County, but we've housed people that have come in from Wake County. We've gotten calls from Wake Med with the mother with a newborn baby and nowhere to go. And so we've housed them. And so we've had them come in from Guilford County. And so for us, it's not a limitation on where you come from. Okay. When you fill out the application, it's reviewed, we talk, there's a pre-screening. And really the pre-screening is not based on, people say, what does it take to not come into the program? What it takes to not come in the program is to not have an attitude to want to do the program. Mm-hmm. And so if we have space, or we're able to accommodate, if we feel someone is a good fit and they are showing us the characteristics of someone who's ready to make some changes. Yeah. Then those are who we work with. And a lot of times, people will come in and they just need a fresh start. Because when you're spiraling out of control, say you lose a job, or we have someone we're working with right now. I got a call from someone in Wake County, a Wake County social worker on yesterday. Someone's house burned down, and their kid is has all these medical conditions. They were living with a friend, and now they have to find some place to go. But they were working, but they can't get ahead because now they're having with COVID and all these things going on. And the social worker said, "I don't know how to help them, but they are trying." Yeah. And when she sent me the referral, they're trying. And if you're trying, I believe the church has a responsibility to meet you in that trying and connect you with the resources that can turn your trying into change and into action. And so we're going through the process, and whether or not she'll fit in our program or not, I don't know. But by the time I finished with the social worker, I had given her multiple resources on things to do and where to call and who to connect with, so that we can get some help to this mother and to this actual family in this crisis. So.
Yeah. Awesome. This is a very, very meaningful discussion. If anyone has any questions for Pastor Spivey, please put them in the comments. We can see your comments, whether you're viewing from YouTube or Facebook, and we can certainly answer any questions that you might have. I'm just thinking about, all of the garage sales and all this other, all of this stuff where people have things in their home that they don't use anymore, furniture. And is there a space for those type of donations? And how do people help in this particular endeavor if someone wants to donate?
What we're doing now, we've had to put a limit on clothing and those types of items because of COVID. But with furniture and appliances, those types of things, we do have some place that we store that, because when people leave out of our program and they move into their own apartment or their own house, we do everything we can to help them furnish that, because we don't want them to leave fully furnished and then kids are back to sleeping on the floor. Right. Or they're stacked into one bed. So we try to make sure when they leave that they leave better than they came. Okay. And so we do accept those items. Our website, rippleeffectgroup.com, has all of our contact information up there. Also, we let people call our office often to just want to know what our needs are. Like now we are preparing to really actually had a situation come by last week. We found out about several homeless people that are sleeping in this, these sheds. And so we've been getting blankets to them. We are not able to, their situations, they don't necessarily qualify for our program because they have some other issues and underlying things that we aren't necessarily equipped to handle. But knowing that they're out there, they need blankets. So we've been doing blankets and those types of things. We're preparing now to really, for seniors, this has been a rough year for them. It's been a rough year for quite a few people, but we're collecting items now to all the seniors. We're blessing 202 seniors that we've served with food and with, helping during this season to bless them with Christmas. And we're not just saying, boxes of food, which we're going to do, but we're collecting socks and blankets and Christmas specialty items so that everyone we've served will get a Christmas gift. We want to love on them and let them know that they're not forgotten. We're also taking care of, the families that we have served that have been a part of our program. We still adopt those families at Christmas to make sure those families have what they need. And we're not the type of organization, and you might disagree with me, I'm not a big toy person. I'm not, because that's not my thing, but making sure that children have things that they need, school supplies, book bags, sneakers, things like personal care items, just things that matter. So often we take stuff for granted. I was cleaning out a couple of my closets and was a little bit ashamed because I'm a bag woman. I love bags. I have a bag for this, a bag for that. I got way too many bags. And I was sitting there thinking of how many I had. And I'm like, okay, who and which teenage girls do I need to bless with some of these bags? Because there's no reason that I have that many. So I started pulling out some things, thinking, okay, who can I bless and who can benefit from this? It's not trash. It's not garbage. Actually, I kind of really like it. So, but who can I get some things that they need? And when people don't even realize this, shampoo and conditioner, feminine care items, deodorant, those types of things make great stocking stuffers because these people don't have it. And we don't think about stuff like that. Hats and sweaters and coats, those things, they don't have it.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting, when I think about that, because even when I look at what, like, for example, St. James has done in the community, like we have a food pantry, which continuously every month, we give out food. We're doing that for Thanksgiving. Also, we've done some giveaways to homeless, like blankets and clothes and toiletries, all of these things. But where I'm stuck a little bit on the reverse, on the end of, we've done these things and we've given out these things and we're in the community, right, as it relates to giving out things. But you bring up a very good point on dealing with issues, though, because I can give someone food, which St. James has done. And a lot of churches, I know a church in Durham here, they give out food, I think, almost every week. They have a Thanksgiving dinner coming up this Saturday. So they're in the community giving, giving, giving. And so there are a lot of churches who do that in Durham specifically, right? Um, just like St. James, just like other churches. But then I hear you earlier when you said when they come to the church, though, they don't always get what they need when they come for worship service, or when they come people who really don't want to deal with certain people, right? And so I am really, really interested, and maybe this is a follow-up conversation on what type of um, training maybe that we need in our churches for youth leaders, or training that maybe we need in our churches on how to actually, greet people. Like I remember one time I was talking, about, we had people to come in and they came from the street and they had on a hat. Leave them alone. Like, let them wear their hat, because they don't understand that, if I just leave them alone, if they don't take it off, like certain little things like that I think sometimes, especially if we're reaching out to the community and saying, come to the church. Oftentimes, we hand sanctification before we hand Jesus, right? So I understand that. And so I'm more stuck on the point of, what type of training do we need? What type of realization do we need to get back to as it relates to receiving people as they are, without putting our learned rules or expectations on them, and they're new. That's what I heard you say.
Because what happens is they come in and we're trying to clean the fish and we ain't caught them yet.
Yeah.
You're trying to clean them. They're not even caught yet. They don't get it. They're not even on the hook. And you're up here trying to skin it. You're gonna make that thing go away. And I am all about, I've been a church girl my whole life, so I understand why people like, we can't do this. You better pull up your pants before you come in here. You can't come in here like that. You can't come in here. So what happens is, first of all, it's not our house. It's God's house. And we want them to get this right. We want to do behavior modification before there's any heart transformation.
Wow.
And we can't. Yeah. And so people have criticized me for the Motown music. You don't need to do that. Listen, bruh, when it's time to shift to praise and worship, after we've laughed and cut up, and I tell them, now we're going to change the scene. Yeah. Now we're going to shift the focus. They receive it because we've been cutting up and having fun, and I'm not coming as the sergeant. We've cut up and we've become so tight.
Yeah. It's a connection. It's a connection. It's relational. It's relatable, right?
That's it. And you have to. And what happens, something you said earlier about all the churches that give out food, and it's a lot of that going on, especially this time.
We do it. St. James does it every month. We do it all the time. We're doing something for Thanksgiving. We've given out coats and blankets and clothes and all of those things, toiletries. But when you get down to the heart of the matter, that's what we're talking about here, right?
And it's relationship. Because I can give you a box of food, but do I know your name? Mm-hmm. I'm giving you these items and I'm giving you this, but have I stopped? How are you doing? Have I stopped to look in your eyes? Or what happens so often is, I'm going to say it. You told me to be honest. In church, it's almost like we become the rescuer. We become the savior. And so we never get them to the savior.
God.
Because we're rescuing them in the need. We're saving you from hunger. We're saving you from cold. We're saving you. But what's the connection to get them from that place to the savior? And I can't do that without relationship. I can't do that without sitting down. I can't do that without creating an environment where you feel comfortable with me sharing your secrets. I had someone a couple weeks ago that I was getting on because they were not doing what they were supposed to do. And we were just talking, and she said to me, "You don't understand. I'm struggling. I'm struggling. I'm struggling." And I'm like, "Okay, talk to me. Struggling about what?" It's like, "You don't understand. You don't understand. You're going to judge me. You're going to judge me." I'm like, "First of all, I don't have a heaven or hell to put you in.
Right.
I'm here to help. Now, I ain't going to force you. But if you want to talk, let's talk." So we sat there, and finally she said to me, and she was crying. She says, "If I don't figure out what to do, I don't know what else to do but to prostitute myself." Mm. And now she was sitting there, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "Sweetie, there are options." And I said, "You know what? There are options. Let's talk about the options." And I made her feel good. I made her feel safe. I said, "First of all, the fact that you trusted me with that,
yeah.
The fact that you just said that means there's something in you that lets you know that this isn't right, baby."
Right.
So thank you. And I built her up for trusting me and being vulnerable with me. Yeah. So by the time I was able to start talking about the other stuff, she could hear me because she knew I wasn't stuck on, "You gonna do what? What? Hold up, stop." No, it became, "I am so proud of you."
Yeah.
For sharing that. And so the whole narrative shifted, and somebody that was kind of training in that moment was like, I didn't know what to say. And I'm like, you know what happens is sometimes you got to get out of the textbook.
Yeah.
And get into their life lane.
That's good.
What would I need to hear right now?
What would I
need to hear?
Yeah.
Not fix me, but what would I need to hear,
right,
to not feel more broken than I already am?
Right. Yeah. That's so powerful. And I wanted to stay there on this, and I wanted to highlight, because we do have some of the members of St. James. We do have some others who are tuning in or who will tune in that are also churched, right? And I grew up in church. I love the church.
We know. That's right? All we know.
I love the church. I grew up in church. But I've also had my day where I didn't represent the principles of the church. I did too, right? And I had those things. And what I learned during those times is that when I was honest, I didn't run to those that were at the church. When I needed to be honest, I ran to someone else. And so sometimes we need to hear the hard truth so that we can self-check and we can really put into perspective and remember our own story, because Jesus saved us from something. And if we can keep our story in the forefront and where we were and what with the process we had to go through to get where we are today, then I can relate to somebody on the street because I have a story. Right?
If it was not for the grace of God.
It wasn't for the grace of God. And it wasn't a person that rescued me. It was him.
Exactly.
It was him. And so that's why I kind of wanted to stay there, because when you focus on that, then now it changes and it shifts the conversation to where we need to be, and not just post-COVID, but right now, right?
That's it.
Yep. So wonderful. So let's go through this again. I don't think we have any questions. I see people really enjoying the conversation. I see that's good. Peggy Tatum, she put behavior modification before heart transformation. That was powerful. But it's so true. And so many others who are certainly enjoying the conversation. So I know that individually, I certainly am going to donate as I can monetarily, but I'm definitely would like to partner, and we come across different things. I heard you say, I took some notes: furniture and appliances and dishes and those type of things. We definitely want to try to maybe collect some of those. So if you're St. James members and you have furniture and appliances and dishes and those types of things in your basement that you will never use again, okay? Because all the kids are gone and you guys don't have, the big dinners that you used to have. Listen, we want to support this organization. So I'm making that plea to my group, okay? All right. Because if you can, support that and have that, that's an awesome, thing. I mean, I think I have some furniture in one of my storage, places. So that's good stuff that somebody will be proud to have it.
Absolutely.
And it's not being used. I think this will be a great opportunity. So we definitely want to do that. So if you would tell us again, if we want to connect with you, if we want to donate, if you have, Givelify or Cash App, I'm not sure, PayPal, I'm not sure if you have any of those things, but if you don't mind sharing those with us, and then maybe what we'll do is after this, we can stick that into the comments.
Okay.
That someone can see those things in the comments. But if you can give us that information and I'll try to capture it.
First of all, I want everyone who's watching, please be in prayer, because something that we are believing for right now is 500 people to partner with us every single month with $20 a month.
Wow.
$20 a month. And the reason why we say that is when we pay a whole lot of electric bills and food and a whole lot of things go out, a lot of things go out to make sure that people's needs are met. The counselors that our people see, they are paid for. We pay for those services. But the reason why I ask that is because that literally will cover our operating expense. And I was spending time trying to pursue grants. But a lot of grants tell you who you can help, what you can't do, and all that other stuff. But one of the things that the Lord put in my heart is he said, this is the work of the people. Because you can go and I can go, this is the work of the church. You can go get a grant and you can go do that. But this is the work of God's people. And who can't spare $20 a month? That's 4 cups of coffee. That is a couple meals.
That's a meal.
That's a meal. I mean, if you go out to eat, if you have children, and $20 a month, if 500 people partner with us at $20 a month, that takes care of all the bills that we have to pay, and our attention can be on helping people.
Right.
That takes care of the resource. That takes care of everything, so we can focus on people. Yes.
And also, I guess I just want to say $20 a month is also annually $240.
That's it. $240.
$240, 500 people. Wow. Okay.
That takes care of our budget. That takes care of the needs. And we're very frugal because we know how to squeeze out some stuff. We've been able to do that. But that takes care of all of our properties. It takes care of our programs. It takes care of those things. So be in prayer, because I'm believing that. When I was at a place and just seeking God on what, these grants, I don't want to compromise the heart of what we do because they're going to make me do it. No, this is what we do. Jesus is this is who we are. So ways that we can give, and I will definitely put this over. We can put it in the comments. Our website is www.rippleeffectsgroup.com. Ripple Effects with an S group.com. And you can go there, and of course on the top is donate, and you can see our services. You can see some of the things that we're doing. We also have Cash App.
Okay. And before you say your Cash App, is that tax deductible?
Absolutely. We are a 501c3 organization. So all of your donations, if we get your information, it goes in our system, you will get an end of your letter that you can use for tax purposes. So yes, we are tax deductible.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that question.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I was trying to look at, our Cash App is $make ripples.
Okay.
Our PayPal is admin, ADMIN, admin at rippleeffectsgroup.com. And you can also do text to give. And you can text to, the phone number is 336-777-7529.
And it's Ripple Effects Group. .com.
Yes, it is. RIPPLEEFFECTS group.com. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then you said the text to give.
It's the phone number 336 777 7529.
336-777-7529.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we're here to make sure that those who want to partner and those who want to give can give, because we're going to be believing God with you. And it looks like some of us are not just going to believe God, but we're going to also partner with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Because this is something that is needed. And again, I do want to circle around, Pastor Spivey, and talk through that, because when I think about effective ministry, and I think about the ministry of St. James, this is a long-standing ministry, and many people are very proud of what St. James has accomplished thus far, right? We are proud of our ministry. We're proud of the people that are there. But we also want to affect in the community. And even our slogan is connecting community to faith.
That's it.
And so, but we can always use a little fine tuning. We can always use a little training. We can always use another idea.
Yes.
Okay. And so I definitely want to connect with you offline again, and maybe we can talk through some things, because we have some good people at our church, and we have some folks who really, really want to see a change in people's lives. And sometimes you don't know how to do it, or, and so we need that extra, push. And so I'm looking forward to our future conversation, and maybe even having you at the church. Once we're back in, or maybe in even a Zoom or something, maybe we can do that. But I do want to partner, but I also want to talk as well. Because one thing that I think we miss oftentimes in a pastoral ministry is going to someone and sitting as a student when the other person is the teacher.
And we have to do that, because that's how I've had to learn with this, because I didn't have a model, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. And so I would find myself going to churches and that had special programs that they did that they were doing well with, and they were embracing, and just asking questions and learning, because we need each other. None of us have gotten it all figured out. And the Bible tells us iron sharpens iron. So we need to intentionally rub up against whatever it is that we need that's going to make us a better version of who we need to be in Jesus, so we can go do his work.
Yes.
And that has to be intentional. So I would love those conversations, and just to share what I've been learning. And even as I've been visiting churches and studying and looking at all the models and what's working and what's not, would be honored to share that info.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for this awesome talk, this challenge, this awareness, and also just to share a little bit about this organization. And we're going to be believing God with you. We're certainly going to add your organization, you and your family, your husband, to our prayer. Our elders and ministers have prayer every Saturday at noon. And so we're going to add you all to our prayer challenge for the week, just to cover your ministry, that you have more than enough. I'm just believing that you're asking for 500, but there might be 1,000 that and we're going to be believing God with you, because I believe that as we pray for you, as we sow into you, as we believe God with you, God also is taking care of the vision that we have at St. James as well. So I certainly believe in that. And so thank you again so much. Are there any questions before we end this session? I think this is good. We've had some good conversation. It looks like all is well. So again, thank you, and have a wonderful night. And I look forward to giving, partnering, and talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity. God
God
bless.
bless you. God bless you. Well, St. James, thank you so much for this time, for you tuning in, and those that will watch on the replay. I'm excited about partnering with this particular organization, not just for namesake or anything like that. I believe in impacting our community, impacting and doing real ministry on the street and anywhere else, right? And so I know that many of us in our ministry also have that same heart. I saw some of you that asked the question, is this tax deductible? That tells me that you're thinking about partnering with this organization. And so thank you so much in advance for those who will give. And even if you can't do every month, but if you can, do 6 months out of the year, I'm sure it will be a blessing to this ministry and to any of our elders or ministers. Make sure that we add ripple effects to our prayer list every Saturday. Keisha Spivey and her husband as well. I believe his name is Eric. We want to add them to our prayer list, Pastor Spivey, so that we can continue to pray over this ministry. We're going to do the same thing for Marion's house as well, because I just believe in the power of prayer. And so let's continue to do that. And to all of you who have viewed, thank you so much. And to all of you who are going to partner, I am sure Pastor Spivey will be very appreciative for your generosity. God bless you. God keep you. This is certainly my prayer. Have a wonderful night.